We once had a councillor come up to us going, "What's an urban room?" And after 5 or 10 minutes of talking to us, he just thought it was the most wonderful thing, and he was totally bought in.
So in 2014, something called the Farrell Review was presented as a paper for government, and the commission was to look at how architecture is being taught. And one of the recommendations was that every town and city should have a physical space people could go to understand the past, what that has meant in terms of the present. So, why do our towns and cities look the way they do? And then think collectively about what should happen in the future to maybe unpick some of the challenges.
A core element of urban room practice is how do local people feel empowered to have a role in the future of their place.
I think a lot of people feel that they don't have access to the places, the people, the processes by which those decisions are made. And I think an urban room is a place to say, what can we do about that? Where do these projects come from? Who makes these decisions? How can we get involved? How can we understand the processes? And actually, how can we all work together to make a difference?
Communities have this diverse range of skills and ideas and visions and dreams, and so to bring people together is incredible, but they need the opportunity to feel that they do have a role to play.
As we know, lots of change processes and development processes and so on, they've not always been like that. But actually, to get the best outcomes, we really do need to open up these processes to a much broader audience. We've got a lot of hard-to-reach groups, and we have a vision for Chatham. And what the urban room allows us to do is to open that conversation up and really ask the question, have we got this right? And get input as we go, not just at the beginning and then say, here it is.
When it's working at its best, it feels like a really open conversation with people. And they know they can keep on coming back and take part in this continuing conversation.
Before you know it, you've got a local lobbying group, and the place starts to look different through these strategies. It's really exciting and it's fun. Urban rooms use various strategies to ignite the imagination of people about the place that they live in.
Urban rooms try and engage people really creatively, and we do that in lots of different ways.
I think if you emotionally get people to connect to an aspect of place, you start that kind of process of connecting on a slightly different level.
So it's often a question of scraping. It's a bit like doing a rubbing, or we sort of rub a bit harder and suddenly this thing reveals itself. So it's like, I just didn't have the right pair of glasses on, I couldn't see it. And I think that's something the urban room can do. Offer a way into understanding place in a really tangible way that the public can understand, that stakeholders can understand, where they're not going to understand GDH necessarily, but they are going to understand, do I like this? And that's the joy of it.
These sort of independent spaces really provide a way for places to dig into what people want to see happen. It's like a proactive way of thinking about the town, so when the opportunity comes, there's stuff that can go forward.
If you've pre-consulted, then it hugely speeds up planning processes. So as a local authority, we can look at it as efficiency savings as much as we can identify the benefits. And when you look at what has happened in places that have done it well, I don't think anyone would not be optimistic.
So the Urban Room Network has been going for around 10 years, and there's definitely a growing appetite for this type of work. We're being invited more and more to provide advice and support to local government, and I think that contributes to the need for the Urban Room Network, so that people have got a place to go to learn about good practice. And it's a national network, so there's lots of learning from lots of different places.
In some ways, if you're by yourself, you think, God, am I barking up the wrong tree here? But actually, you get into that room and you realise everybody is trying to do the same thing in their local place, and that's really uplifting. And then you learn from each other.
The network's a really good place to share tips and advice on how to not only set up an urban room, but to keep it going.
Whether you have an urban room or not, I would encourage you to check out the website. There's a toolkit on there, and you can learn about the members of the network, should you want any advice or just a chat about what it could mean to you and your community.
My dream is really that every high street has an urban room, and it's just thought of as we think of our local post office or high street shop.
Artists, architects, students, activists, community workers, somewhere like this that's like hosting that opportunity is offering us a place to interact with one another, or a place to make things happen in our own city and own our city a little bit more.
To be able to be excited about change where you live and being able to configure a legacy for the next generation. And it's extraordinary. I feel quite privileged to be able to be involved in it, really, because goodness, not every day you get to redesign your hometown.